All right, the way this is gonna work is I'm first gonna show you the breakfast recipe, and as you know from the title, they're all under $3, and actually they're kind of closer to like $2 a serving, so that's really exciting. But at the end, I'm gonna show you the full price for each recipe, and I'm gonna show you some easy ways that you can make it even more budget-friendly with some simple swaps. I really hope you enjoy these budget-friendly vegan breakfast recipes. If you're not subscribed to my channel before we get started, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna get super fluffy pancakes by starting with some vegan buttermilk. And you might wonder why you always see this in the beginning of vegan baking recipes. And the reason is because the acidity, which here we're creating with a little lemon juice, is gonna do two things. The first is it activates the leavener, so we get really nice fluffy pancakes. And it also helps to tenderize the flour. So it's gonna break down the flour a little bit and create a really kind of like tender, soft, fluffy pancake that has the nicest texture. So it's just some plain soy milk, lemon, and vanilla. Set that aside to curdle, and then we're gonna move on to our dry ingredients, which is so easy. It's just flour, baking powder, salt, and cardamom. Mix that all together and set it aside. Just like when you make banana bread, you want to use a ripe, spotty banana, and this is going to do two things. One, it's obviously going to add a lot of flavor and natural sweetness, but the banana also acts as an egg replacer. So we don't have to use a chicken's egg to make these pancakes, but we also don't have to use a vegan egg substitute. We're just going to mash that together, add some maple syrup, melted vegan butter, and then our now curdled buttermilk. Mix that all together, and the wet ingredients are done. Then we're just going to go ahead and add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients and just mix until no more flour is visible. You don't have to stir until it's completely smooth because actually those lumps help to create really fluffy pancakes. We'll cook the pancakes on both sides until they are golden brown on the outside and fluffy in the center. I'm going to show you what they look like in the middle so you can see they get really nice and fluffy all the way through. Look at that texture. They're slightly sweet, they're buttery, they're so good, and they're really filling too, so I hope you guys love them. These pancakes are the only recipe in the video that are over $2 per serving. They come in right around $2.15 per serving, and I love maple syrup and butter on top. It's such a classic combo, but if you wanted to make it even more budget friendly, you could definitely use jam on your pancakes instead of maple syrup. It's way less expensive, and I really love the flavor, especially because there's a little bit of banana in the pancake. So if you have like a strawberry or raspberry jam, it's super, super tasty. I also really like stretching my maple syrup to make a fruit topping. So instead of doing lots of maple syrup on all of the pancakes, I'll do about 2 to 3 tablespoons of maple syrup with some frozen berries, warm that up in a saucepan, and I'll have like a mixed berry or blueberry maple syrup that I can put on top of the pancakes. Not only am I making a little bit of maple syrup go a long way, but I'm also adding lots of flavor and additional nutrients to my breakfast that way. Up next, I've got a recipe that you might be a little bit weirded out by when you first hear it, and that's because it involves lima beans. I really disliked lima beans when I was a kid, and I think that's because at school lunches, they were always kind of served as like a mixed vegetable side, and they were always just kind of hard, and I didn't like the texture, I didn't like the flavor. Not for me. But one of the best things about being vegan is it's made me a much more creative cook. And one thing that I've learned is that you can really make anything taste good. If you cook it right and you season right, you can make anything taste good, including lima beans. So I didn't like the way that school cafeteria was preparing lima beans, but that doesn't mean I don't like lima beans. And in fact, I love this lemon garlic lima bean hummus. It's so quick and easy, and of course, very budget friendly. So let's get into it. Into the blender, I'm gonna add some thawed frozen lima beans, green peas, and a can of white beans. I'll add some fresh lemon juice, and the lemon I think is a key ingredient. It adds so much flavor and brightness. Just make sure that if you are going to squeeze it directly into the blender, you don't include the seeds like I did. Moving on, we're gonna add some tahini. You guys know I love light, runny, silky smooth tahini. It's a key ingredient in hummus, and so it works really well here, kind of ties everything together, also provides a bit of calcium, gotta love that. I'm gonna add some garlic powder and some salt, a few dashes of very optional cayenne pepper, and then we'll just blend it smooth with some water. Super easy, all the ingredients go into the blender, you blend, and you're done. It's super quick. I typically do this on like a Sunday afternoon. It takes like 5 minutes, but before I put it in the fridge, I do like to taste it, make sure all the seasonings are right, make sure I like the amount of lemon and salt. You can kind of adjust it to your liking. Once it's perfect, you can go ahead and put it in the fridge. This will last about 5 to 6 days in the refrigerator, but I find that I use it so much, like on everything from toast to grain bowls to potatoes. You could even stir it into pasta. This holds up really well in the fridge, gets even more flavorful, so I just pack it up and pop it in the fridge. But for a savory breakfast, I like to toast up some sourdough bread. Then I'll take my hummus and I'll do a generous layer on the bottom. This is gonna add so much flavor, but also some really great fiber, protein, iron, so lots of good nutrients, lots of minerals that we're getting in first thing in the morning. And then I'll top this with half of an avocado. I really love doing a little lemon juice on top of the avocado, as well as some everything but the bagel seasoning, just like I would pretty much anytime I make avocado toast. But because we have the lemony garlicky hummus, it just has an extra layer of flavor and it's so good. Has a slight sweetness from the peas, and you do get a nice kind of garlic kick, but it's not overpowering because it's garlic powder and not fresh garlic. So I find this is perfect when I want something nice and savory in the morning. And this is a very budget friendly hummus to make. It's only 18 cents per serving, and on the sourdough with half of an avocado, it comes out to $1.64 per serving. Now, I do recommend using frozen lima beans and frozen green peas as opposed to canned if possible, just because the flavor is so much like fresher, I think, with the frozen. It really does make a big difference in the overall hummus and how it tastes. So if possible, go for frozen rather than canned. This next breakfast is inspired by two of my favorite things in the world, crepes and quesadillas. And while it's neither crepe nor quesadilla, it's kind of a mix-up of both, and it's so, so good. Basically, what I remember from being in Paris when I was 18, a long, long time ago, is that there were all of these vendors selling hot crepes ready to order, and they were stuffed with bananas and strawberries and either nut butter or chocolate hazelnut spread, and it was so, so, so delicious. And I love that flavor combination, but sometimes I want something quicker and easier than making my own crepes from scratch. Enter the quesadilla method. I'm basically going to take everything that I love that goes inside a crepe and make it quesadilla style by using a tortilla. Now you're gonna think I lost my mind. This is gonna sound a little wacky, but I promise you it all comes together in the most delicious way. It's so quick and easy, and most importantly, it's very budget friendly. We're gonna start with a large whole wheat tortilla and some nut butter. I'm using almond butter, and this is still gonna be under $2 a serving, but if you wanna bring the price down even more, you can switch it out for peanut butter. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add some banana slices and a very generous sprinkle of cinnamon. Then I'm just going to fold it in half like so and bring it over to the stove. I'm going to heat up a griddle to about medium-high heat and add a little bit of vegan butter to the pan. This is really going to go a long way in terms of flavor, which I'll talk about later on, but it also really creates a great texture here. We're going to get a beautiful kind of like golden brown color, as you're about to see when I flip it over. Look at that. And it has this kind of crunchy, crispy, golden brown outside. You can see it has that beautiful kind of like leoparding on top of the tortilla. That is what you want. So we're gonna cook it on both sides. The inside is gonna get nice and melty and gooey and sweet. The outside is gonna be crispy and buttery. And this only takes like 3 minutes. It's super, super quick. And then you can just cut it up and serve it up on a plate. And then you can top it with whatever you like. I like to top this with some coconut or almond milk yogurt and some fresh berries. Sometimes I'll do some extra banana slices as well. And one of my favorite things to do is to sprinkle on some chia seeds. This adds, I mean, obviously it's pretty, but it also adds a little bit of like a very delicate crunch. So it's different than if you were to add like chopped almonds or pumpkin seeds or something like that. It's just a slight crunch, and it's really, really nice. So I really enjoy that. And this smells so good when you're cooking. Like anyone who's around when you're making this is going to come running into the kitchen like, what are you making? Because it really smells insane. You've got that kind of like buttery, crispy outside, and then this like warm, gooey, sweet center. I love the pop of freshness from the berry on top, and it's just so good. A couple of things to keep in mind here. I really do think that it's the combination of all of these ingredients together that gives it that kind of crepe dessert-like quality. I really think using a whole wheat tortilla is the way to go because it has this kind of like sweet nuttiness that you're not going to get from a plain flour tortilla, and especially not like a flour corn hybrid. So if you can, go for whole wheat. I also think that little bit of the butter in the pan goes a long way in terms of making it taste more pancake-like, more dessert-like. And then of course that cinnamon, there's something about the cinnamon that just makes it tastes like a baked good because you use the cinnamon. Each individual thing on its own, not so important, but when it comes together and turns into a beautiful thing, a budget-friendly beautiful thing. It is only $1.96 per serving. Now that is without the toppings. I used fresh raspberries, I used coconut yogurt. This is definitely a pricier coconut yogurt, so it does take the price up considerably, but you could definitely use frozen berries. Again, you could use jam, but you could also do vegan whipped topping, or you could make your own coconut whipped cream to put on top. That would be delicious and much more budget-friendly as well. I love the like berries and cream with the crispy like whole wheat tortilla. I think it's delicious. So there's lots of ways to get that same effect and keep it under your budget as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All the recipes are going to be in the description box below. And if you've been wanting to take my online cooking class, which I put out almost 2 years ago at this point, it's on sale now. So if you've been waiting for it to go on sale, it's on sale, and that link is in the description box below. It's 25 videos, exclusive recipes, and lots of tips for vegan meal planning, how to stock your pantry, budget-friendly tips, all kinds of good stuff. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye, everyone.